One of my favorite things to record when working on drums is the room. The room, when thoughtfully placed, can not only give you a really cool portrayal of the drums themselves, but also the performance of the drummer. For example, if you have a ferocious player and they're slamming on the kit, if we hear the room reverberate with the powerful hits of the drummer, in our heads when we're listening to the record, it's solidifying the idea that the drummer is playing rather hard. Now, if the drummer's playing softly, let's say like in a jazz record, and we hear an absence of space, or a smaller space, or more direct space, we then solidify in our head that the drummer is playing softly. So there are many things that we have to think about aside from mic choice when we are miking a room. And this is when a good conversation with the drummer is needed, because we have to find out their playing style. We have to find out where they feel they fit in the record. We have to find out how hard they play. So the record that I'm going to be recording today is a rock record, so I want to hear the room be affected by how hard the drummer is hitting. So the mics that I'm using is a U47 by Telefunken and an Electro Voice RE10 that I will talk more about in a second. But the U47s are used in a pair. They're about 10 to 12 feet away from the kit, so that they're picking up how the room is affected by how hard the drummer is hitting the drums. And I'm using them, of course, in a stereo pair, meaning there's one on the left side of the kit and one on the right side of the kit. Some great alternatives, especially if you have a smaller room, is a ribbon mic. This is a Coles 4038. Also on the end there, we have a Royer 121, which is another great ribbon mic. It's a little bit more affordable than the Coles, but they both do a great job. Now, if you're using a smaller room and it sort of complements a softer playing style, we don't want to hear the room reverberate as much because the drummer isn't hitting as hard. So the way we perceive ambience is by loudness. And of course, we are more sensitive to high-end information. The Coles and the Royer, since they are ribbon, they smooth out your top end. So if we're not really perceiving the top end of the reverberation, but more of the warmer side in the lower frequencies, we'll perceive the space as smaller, enforcing that the drummer is actually playing softly. Another option is a U87, which is a great room mic. It's a great mic overall, but for capturing the ambience of a drum set in any size room, it's really good. So is an AKG C12 or a Telefunken C12. Now, I want to talk about this mic, which is my favorite room mic. It is an Electro Voice RE10. It was given to me by my dad, and after he gave it to me, he held me up like Simba in The Lion King and put on the Lion King song. And I said, "Dad, you got to put me down because I'm 21 and you can't do this type of thing anymore, you know?" But the reason why I like this is that I've been using it since I was a kid. That's probably why I'm nostalgic of the sound. But I use this mic in pretty much every recording I do as a creative mic. And being creative with the microphone allows me to sort of lay back on the rest of the stuff. And that's important. Using restraint when you're recording something, especially in the beginning when you're not too sure whether or not the recording is going to be stylized, is important. But if you want to flex a creative muscle, have a microphone that you could mess around with. So I keep this in the center of the room. I heavily compress it to give it that sort of stereotypical compressed room sound, but I may not use it. Or maybe I'll just sneak it in. Knowing that I have something that is stylized on hand and ready to go, especially if the band wants to hear it back, and that may be something that they like, but they're not sure they want yet. So it's something that I can say, oh, you know what? Maybe it'll work. And then we can then, in post, distort or heavily compress the room mics. But I like to keep things natural for the most part, but always have something on hand that I can have fun with. And that is very important for any engineer, especially newer engineers, trying to figure out what it is that you like. So having a good stereo pair of room mics to capture the ambience, whether they're placed close or farther away, and then having another room mic or even another pair of room mics to create some stylized image of the ambience is a really good way to make sure that you're not missing out on a sound that's going to really benefit the record.